What is enlightenment?
Enlightenment is the state of knowing the way things are in the present moment. If you know the way things are in the present moment, you find that you're not there anymore. The thing we're always striving for, if we're spiritually inclined, is to get out from under the idea of who we think we are. We get out from under the idea of who we think we are, we become free. So freedom is from the misconception that there's a body and a mind which is personal. Get beyond that and you're free. And when you get free, you become enlightened. Enlightened means to have light. Being unenlightened means to live in the dark.
What is freedom?
Freedom is from something. It's not to something, you know. People who live in a first world country, they know they have the freedom to go out and buy KFC or McDonald's burgers or a variety of any of 10 different kinds of beer, or 100 perhaps. But that's not freedom. That's freedom to something. Freedom from something is getting out from under desire and the fear that's bundled in with it in these kind of computer phrase. Fear and wanting and desire, they're all really the same package. This is the kind of stuff that keeps the world rolling, keeps our life spinning, keeps us on the wheel, keeps us suffering. You want to get out from under suffering? Get out from under your fear. Get out from under your desires. What's the answer if you have no desire? Just do your duty. Find out what your duty is and just do it. Your life will be fine.
When you say meditate the mind, what does that mean?
Well, let's just say train the mind. To train the mind means to know the mind. Actually, we can't really do a lot about the way the mind operates. It's going to think on its own. It's going to think the way it wants to think, depending on our karma, depending on our conditioning. But if we train the mind, we create the perspective, the mindfulness awareness perspective that sees what's happening, and then it gives you the option of whether to follow it, to contemplate it, or to let go of it. Without that option, then we just become slaves of the train of thought as it moves by and the emotions that move along with it.
I notice behind you have pictures of different monks. Are some of these your teachers? Do you have any particular teachers that guided you when you first came to Thailand, wearing robes?
Well, we have teachers their whole life. And the first teachers that I can remember were the people that gave me some tough love lessons when I was in grade school, dealing with teachers who wouldn't let me get away with a lot of stuff, perhaps. Dealing with friends who had different ideas than I had. And just anytime we have to go against the grain, I think that provides opportunity for teaching. Somehow I seem to have the sensitivity or the built-in patience and endurance to be able to listen to people who criticize me. And I could see, I could make a mandate in my life that the real idea, that the real path was to do the difficult. And I always knew that was the truth. So I had to find the way through difficulty. Every time I'd find myself comfortable or everything going too smoothly, I always rebelled against that. And I think, I can't say I rebelled against it, but there was this energy inside of me that said, if you just keep going this way, you're going to get so comfortable, you're going to just get even stupider than you are right now.
I've heard said that Buddhism is not a religion, and I've often wondered about that because in a country like this they call the Buddhist religion, and in Southeast Asia there's a lot of Buddhists. Is it a religion?
Of course it's a religion. It means to relink. Religion means to relink. And the whole path of the Buddha was to relink with the reality and to get ourselves up from under what they call sakyaditi, the misunderstanding that there's a person here, that you're an abiding entity that's going to die and get reborn in the same person, and maybe in a heaven realm, or come back and all have all your wishes fulfilled if you've lived a so-called good life. But actually, good isn't even good enough if we just touch on that. Wisdom is the key, and Buddhism is all about wisdom. It's about knowing things as they are. It's not about being good, because good is built into wisdom. But goodness doesn't have wisdom built into it.
Ajahn, what is boon? What is merit when we hear about this?
Well, I was trying to point to that a little bit earlier when I said whenever you have a mind moment of awareness, that's a moment of merit. That's a moment of positive energy. This positive energy accumulates. It builds up and builds up and builds up. And if we get enough of this positive energy, it's going to keep the negative energy from arising. And even more importantly, that positive energy, that merit, that boon, is going to take us over the top, and where we get to the point where it just becomes automatic. Our life flows. It flows because there's nobody there. And we can say that boon is the thing that leads us to enlightenment. It's the units of energy. And for most people who have a kind of conventional perspective on charity and doing good, they're developing boon in order to get to the heaven realms. The heaven realms are the realms where your body is in harmony, you don't feel sick, or you don't even have a body. It's a state of highly refined and sublime mind moments. But to be enlightened, we don't even want that. We don't want to live in sublime conditions like an angel, because there's still a person there. There's still a being. And with wisdom, you transcend all that. You get beyond the heaven realms. Like a lot of the people, I'm sure, who are interested in what we're talking about are people who are living very refined lives. They enjoy music, or they play music. They enjoy art. They do art. Their kind of hobbies and their leisure are activities that are in harmony with nature. Whereas people with more crude kind of mind states, or we call mind jits, the jit of somebody whose mind is in a lower kind of realm, they like to do more crude things. Get drunk, get in fights. They like to see blood, see violence, hunt, things like that.
Ajahn, let me ask you about souls. Do we have souls, or are we energies, karmic energies?
You have to find that out for yourself.
All right.
I spent the last 35 years looking at what's going on inside. I've never found a soul. I've never found anything except changing conditions. The soul idea actually comes out of fear. We have fear, and we don't recognize the fear, even though it's totally got us bundled up, and we're kind of swimming and trying to keep our head above it. And once you have that fear being such a dominant part of your life, then you got to create a God entity, or an idea of some higher power that's going to help you, because the fear is so overwhelming, the anxiety is so pressing, that you create this God idea, which is something I've never seen either, looking inside of myself, or never found any indication of anything except changing conditions, thing arising and passing away. If you don't understand the way the dynamics of it all work, and you have to meditate and really to get this in a visceral way, then you create the idea of a soul, because if there's no soul, then there's nothing to depend on God for. And so they're really come together. You have a God and you have a soul. You have a soul and then you're going to have a God. But if you don't believe in either, or don't find any evidence for either one, then you just say things are changing, and we're being born, and we're getting old, and we're getting sick, and we're moving towards death. There doesn't have to be a soul, and there doesn't have to be a God. It's not a requisite. You can see that life goes on in nature without either one.